Yes, on
your
chaps.
goggles on your forehead. Yeah.
Right there.
Or Montgomery, probably, I guess.
Yes,
He
Montgomery.
I could not always go for the Nazi example. I could go for...
So what does a German World War II soldier say when someone pokes his eyes out?
What does he say?
I cannot see.
Remarkable.
It's slowly breaking me.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the QUACKCAST. This is the Drunkduck QUACKCAST and we're up to number 525 of Ozone Ocean, and with me is Baines, Pitt and Tance.
Hello.
Hello.
We were on a break!
What?
I was just testing that out to see if anyone remembered what that means. I guess not. Time marches.
What did you say?
It's a classic program rife with sexual tension called Friends.
Oh my god.
And that's an iconic thing.
You're right, I hated that show. Oh,
Right. Oh, that's the Ross and what's her name? Oh,
Rachel.
yes, thank you. That's the worst. Like that's exactly how not to do.
Well,
Yeah.
Ross
The
is
master.
Ross is the American version of the harem anime protagonist. He is the blank wet tissue toilet paper fellow. He's just a balloon with a face on it. Oh god, that guy. Okay, well,
None of you are wrong, but he was brilliant. He's a brilliant actor. In my opinion, he was very funny. And he could deliver that line. He did multiple times through the series. I know I might be alone on this, but he was like,
I haven't seen
that phrase delivered by him was very, very funny. What's that?
I said I haven't seen enough of it to know.
Oh.
I would watch some Friends sometimes to see how it. I'm turning over new leaves. I like pink hoodies now. Who knows what else I like? So
yeah,
maybe I'd like Friends if I watch some of it.
I'm prepared to meet you in the middle. I'm prepared to. I have historical hate of the show because I didn't like it in the 90s, but that could change. I could binge watch it.
Yeah.
Well,
It's so to me.
No, I was going to say that it depends on where you pick it up, and because it has, in terms of quality of script, it ebbs and flows. So
yeah,
the early episodes were pretty badly done. Well, we're not talking about Friends. We're talking about a sexual attention, which is a good little relationship tactic that you exploit in your fiction, and it's really cool. I love the whole sexual attention thing, but it can lead to problems if it's handled badly, or it can be really cool if you handle it right. So that's what we're going to talk about in this particular QUACKCAST. First, I have to bring up the featured comic. I featured a comic called Hungry Heart in this particular... I just featured Hungry Heart, and it's a really good comic. So, here I am with Hungry Heart.
Everybody's got a hungry heart. Didn't we talk about this one before?
We did. It was Gummelus featured the music. He did a theme for it.
Okay.
Hello, I'm Ozone Ocean, and my feature for the week was Hungry Heart. The murderous psychopath Elizabeth von Johnson Henderson has to get out of prison before she's executed, and she's found the perfect partner to help her. In her words, Edward Moreau, he smells like a garbage can, got the IQ of a handball, and is probably the ugliest man on earth. Together, they'll carve a bloody swathe on their path to freedom, and along the way enlighten us the mysteries of their bloody past and what led them to the current state of affairs. Read Prison Breaks. It's a mystery murder full of blood and death and quite a good portion of comedy, and even a budding romance. Possibly. Well, the writing is very compelling and the art is full colour and very accomplished. It's a compelling work. I was really starting to enjoy this one. It's one that sort of takes you along and you want to see what the developing mystery is. How did Elizabeth and Edward come to meet, and, how did they become known for being criminals? Edward's obviously got some sort of weird thing happening. You'll see that as the story develops. I don't want to spoil that. And Elizabeth is a strangely cold-blooded, emotionless psychopath, and that's really weird when you see that dawning. So it's an interesting relationship between these two characters. They're not in a romantic relationship either. There's a budding romances between a couple of different characters. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy Hungry Heart, which is a great comic by Bill Dolzler, and it's rated M for mature audiences. And that was our featured comic, which was Hungry Heart. Baines, sing us out.
Born down in a dead man's town.
Bastard.
Woo!
Born in the USA. Love that song. Love that. Well, all right.
Beautiful.
And Baines wasn't born in the USA, so that's false advertising. Let's go on with the QUACKCAST. Okay, so next up we have the featured music. Gummels has given us the theme to The Golden Spiral. Or just called Golden Spiral. It's not The Golden Spiral. This music he's given me, it reminds me of the start of Forever Autumn from Jeff Wayne's War of the Worlds. If anyone knows that, if you don't know it, you should look it up. It's a really lovely track. It has the same sort of energy, a beautiful melancholy tune with a slightly threatening, unsettling feeling. Maybe because of tritones, I don't know. Tritones are a kind of effect people use to give an unsettling feeling.
The devil tone.
Exactly. So I suspect that's what he's used. So, take it away, Gumwallace, with The Golden Spiral. That was our musical theme. Gummels gave us to Golden Spiral. Wow. Lovely little tension-inducing track there, Gummels. And speaking of tension, this particular QUACKCAST is on sexual tension. So, sexual. That's what we're going to be talking about. That reminds...
Everyone's attention now. Let's move on.
Sexual. So, yes, so this is a very fun subject. So, it basically involves, you're having your principal characters, usually principal characters, having some sort of possibility of a sexual relationship, or any kind of. It doesn't have to be sexual, but you know what we mean. We mean like some kind of romantic situation. It's not necessarily sexual. It's like possible romance between these characters, but it's unrequited. Not unrequited because they both want it. It's like
friends. Yeah. To some degree, at least.
Yeah,
it's unsaid.
Yeah, exactly. It's not openly stated. Yeah, but we have this kind of longing between these characters. It's very unsaid. It's usually intimated through just looks and things like that, and they want to say something about. They want to get together, but they don't. And that's where the tension comes in, because you as an audience typically want them to get together, because it's like we were talking about like in the musical theme there. So I thought that Gumwallis had used tritones, and the whole thing about tritones is tritones creates a tension that you think needs to be resolved. It needs to have a resolution, and it needs to go to the full tone or chord or whatever. I don't know, I'm not a musical guy, but that's the kind of thing. And sexual tension is the same thing. It needs a release, it needs a resolution, but tension is a fun thing, however it's created in fiction, because it gets that interest. What's it? Conflict. So conflict is a kind of tension. And conflict creates interest, creates some reason to watch, because will the conflict be resolved? How will the conflict be resolved? How will the players in the conflict, how will they react? And it's the same thing. Sexual tension is that. So it can be a fantastic writing tool. And you can mess that up by keeping it out, playing with it too long, playing it out, and then resolving it badly. Or you can't mess it up by resolving it too soon. But if you resolve it too soon, then there wasn't really much sexual tension. It's really not much of a thing. But yeah, so there's a lot of different ways you can use it. What do you reckon?
Well, if you resolve it quickly, I think that you just need to follow it up with something that's still interesting on how that relationship might develop and stuff. I thought there was something once, I can't remember what it is, and I could already tell I'm going to do that a lot during this cast, but I thought there was something, I don't know if it was an anime or what, but it started off with this tension between these two characters, but they get together, and the rest of the anime is kind of about them keeping their relationship together. Maybe I'm just thinking of The Office. I don't know. It's all animated, but
together.
Tension. But I mean, so think about what sexual tension is, and I think it at least in theory, can work well as something that is short-lived, because think about when you have a crush on somebody, right? Or you meet somebody at a party you really like, and you have this explosive energy that's building up and building up. And even if it's resolved that night, or comes to fruition that night, even though the time span was very short of getting to that explosion of realization, if it does come to that, if you do it right, I think you still manage to build a lot of intrinsic interest, because especially if something is so short-lived like that, because if it still manages to be really effective, then people are desperate to see where it goes from there. They kind of ride that high of, oh, here's this big, exciting thing that just happened, and I need to see what happens with it. That was all very vague, but
No, I absolutely agree, and I think that sexual tension, exactly because it is tension, should remain dynamic. If you let it basically tank and stay in a specific condition for too long, it dies. So you do need to make it develop. It can still be tension, but it has to hinge on different elements of the relationship and still be tension, rather than just keep it in a very specific way. Like we started off with the friends thing. So we had the tension between Ross and Rachel, and initially it was fun, and then they got together, and it was fun. At least that I had no problem with them being together. I liked that. But then apparently the writers felt that they wanted to do the same thing that they had before, so they had them be on a break, as Ben said, and then they try to get that sexual tension back from before. But of course, you can't do that again because they have moved on from there into something else. So you had basically Ross became a douchebag and Rachel became someone that should learn to move on and just get someone else, and she never does. So she also is a frustrating character. So what I'm trying to say is that when they get to be a couple, you can still have sexual tension between them, but it has to be to get into a different stage and be about different things. Like for example, they are together, but circumstances make them be apart or have to behave in a certain way whereas they don't want to, or what have you, I don't know. Or they have to be to keep everything bottled up inside for some reason, and then you have again sexual tension, and it can be pretty interesting as well. But I don't know, because we are not talking about a specific plot, but the point is that if you keep it too someone is flying too low, sorry. If you keep it going for too long and it stagnates, then it stops being tense. It becomes annoying, is what I'm saying.
It can happen. And it's different from real life, because you can have characters have a sexual tension for a long time in fiction, but you can't do that in reality because, like Tance is saying, things atrophy or things stagnate. That happens fairly quickly. You can't have that explosiveness very long. You just can't keep it going in reality. You get tired of it and you move on, or it becomes creepy or offensive or something else in reality. It's a stalkerish even. You get all kinds of weird stuff, but in fiction you can keep it going for a lot longer than you could in reality, which is interesting. The famous example of Moonlighting, where it went for a long time, and Sam and Diane.
But that's an interesting one because.
Okay, Bones.
No, what was the end of the point there? I thought you were trailing off, so I was jumping in.
Oh no, I was just saying Sam and Diane in Cheers was another example. God, these old references, but these are ones that these things are on repeat, and people know these shows. Anyway, sorry, go on, Baden.
Moonlighting's a long time ago. I know we talk about it. It feels like we talk about it a lot, but nobody knows that show anymore.
Star Wars.
But that one was kind of let's make it about Star Wars. It was tense in Moonlighting. they had this like kind of like antagonistic partnership between the two characters, and there was like this really snappy back and forth. It was really fun, and it was definitely there. It was an important part of the show as they were running around solving their mystery of the week, and doing their comedic plots. It was kind of always there, and it could have always been there, maybe. But with them, that show was kind of infamous for dissipating all the tension. Like the two got together, season 2 maybe or something like that, and then I think to my memory anyway, it was handled pretty realistically, like sort of the fallout after they had their night together, and then the jealousy and the kind of the raw emotion. But it was, I mean, the show was so fun and snappy, and the rapid fire dialogue, rapid fire for the time, that when that was gone, it was kind of like, what is this now? Like now this is just like sad, upsetting.
It's
was kind of weird.
I like it.
And to top it off, I think the two lead actors hated each other, so they would never shoot together. So, I mean, there was lots of awkward stuff.
They probably had a real...
I think there might have been a real something, but I don't know what. Yeah.
Well, they were very big stars, Sybil and Bruce Willis.
And even on that show was pretty huge at the time. I think they were already like sort of well known.
Well, no, Sybil was the known one. Bruce Willis was.
She was the known one.
Yeah, he was a nobody at that stage. She was like the Tom Arnold of Roseanne, you know.
Who wouldn't love that comparison? I'm sure she'd be happy.
So yeah, Sybil made Bruce Willis into the behemoth that he became. People forget that, but yeah. So that had something to do with it too, I think. But
I do think an undercurrent can always be there if it's a minor part of it. So much is about context, you know. Like if it's, I'm not talking about moonlighting. I'm talking in general now. Like that, if it's an undercurrent, I think there's no reason it couldn't just always be there for a 5-year show. Like why not? If the show's about something else, if it's a romance, it's something else. But
I mean, there's the long-running sexual tension between, say, James Bond and Mrs. Moneypenny. It went for a long time.
Yeah, there you go.
And now they updated it to some sort of sexual harassment thing, and you're just a little boy kind of thing, which is rather silly, you know.
Yeah, well, not sexual tension there, though.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that really, but yeah.
I think that sexual tension is something that doesn't need to be continuous. You may have said that before, because I zoned out for a moment. But
Thank you. Listen to what I say. She just falls asleep.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm just tired. But what I want to say is that sexual tension can happen contextually, in the sense that it might spark between two characters that may or may not be openly attracted to each other, and then it may just go into a lull again, you know, as the plot moves on and stuff. And it just might be something that happens a little bit, like something flies, and then it doesn't fly, like doesn't always, you know, the atmosphere doesn't always spark, like exactly, like. And I remember there was this, sexual tension for teens anyway. But I remember when I was at school, like high school and senior high school, like let's say, there was this kid, this boy I had this enormous crush on, and I think that he also had a crush on me. I think I could never verify it because I was never the type to walk up to people and explain how I felt. Anyway, however, there were a few moments where there was sexual tension, and I am saying that objectively. Like he was looking at me when I was looking back in a certain way, and it was very, very there. But like the very next, not very next, but after a time, we were again in the same room together, and that wasn't there, neither from me nor from him, and I still had a crush on him. What I'm trying to say is that sexual tension is something that isn't like always on necessarily.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean that it cannot exist in a latent stage, and then you have the circumstance that you want, and then it sparks and it's there.
Yeah, it's not always the same thing in real life or even in fiction. Like, it's not always, like, when you say sexual tension, it's not like it has to be one, like a given part of the process or a given moment or a really electric moment. The characters might not even know it. It's there just for the audience, or one character might know it and not the other, or the reverse, or both characters might be kind of feeling it, but, not accepting it or just not saying it. So it can be a lot of different things.
Absolutely. And also, I like to think too, I'd like to see something that handles it as well as, like, say there are two characters and they want to go wild for each other. They just want to do all the things, and they got the feelings, they got the urges, they got the shebang bang, they got chemistry. And then I suppose nobody will do this because it would just be nothing but disappointing. But then, like, they get together and it's disappointing for them. You know what I mean? Because that happens so much too in real life. Because we make people out to be far greater than they are and far perfect than they are. And I'll say I have a few friends that I'm still very much friends with now, and I love them dearly in a different way. But I have friends that when I first got to know them, I became infatuated with them. And when we got together, it was like, all right, well, that urge is itched, and it wasn't super great. And I treasure their friendship now, but, like, and I'm kind of glad that that huge urge has passed, quite honestly, because if you've ever been somebody, which I'm sure many of you have, somebody who's been infatuated with somebody else and just wanted to be with them, when you have it real bad, it's almost agony. You know what I mean? You don't think about anything else. You just want to be with that person. And once that kind of mania passes, sometimes it passes in a way that's also very painful. But if it just kind of dies out, or turns into something else that's still, like a good friendship or something like that, that can happen too. It feels a lot better. So I don't know, like, I think it's kind of overplayed a little bit to where you have the star male lead and the female lead, and they have to get together by the end because they just have to do that, and then it ends once they're together because it's a happy ending. And I don't know, maybe that just sounds cynical. I think a lot of people are kind of sick of that, though. But a lot of people really like it. Different people have different itches, but I would kind of like to see some character relations played out with more variance like that.
Well, they did that in Seinfeld. Seinfeld and Elaine.
Yeah.
They got together.
Yeah,
and it
that's
was
right.
nothing, and then they never did it again.
Yeah.
Stayed friends.
Yeah. They worked so much better as friends. It was just like, I don't like it when they're together.
And they even did that with George and Elaine. They sort of had a sexual tension there for a little while, and
I think that was more just for comedy with them.
Yeah, it was, but it was still, a bit of sexual tension. And
Sure.
It was like momentary and it was gone. It was good to you felt that there was possibly something happening, and yeah, then it was over. So it was a good show, well written, and it was nice to see them taking those variations, and then leaving the characters free to have all their ephemeral relationships. Because in a lot of shows, you would have only the men having these kind of ephemeral relationships, but Elaine had them just as much as the guys, which was really cool. So all of them had those except for Kramer. He just had weirdness in his life. I think
and then the sexual tension between you and Baines is, we all feel it with every QUACKCAST. It's kind of those guys. You've got to turn it down a little bit.
Know. It burns pretty hot.
Yeah.
The fire burns below. Judas Priest.
It's molten. We resolve it in Bottomless Waitress. This is how we negotiate.
Whenever Oz draws a picture of any of the girls, he like pastes a picture of Baines' face over it. He's like, yeah. Now I can get into this, yeah.
Yes. Truly horrific.
It's a little fuzzy monster. Little fuzzy orange monster. It's exactly how it's done. Now you're telling everyone how the sausage is made, Pete. You're spoiling it for everyone. Terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember in Cheers also, actually, they brought in when there was always that Sam and Diane kind of on again, off again, hot and cold thing going on. They were together, they broke up over and over. And then she left the show and they brought in Kirstie Alley as a new character. And it started off like they were doing a similar thing with them at first, and along with other conflicts they had with the business and stuff. And then they abandoned it brilliantly when they realized like that wasn't like, it didn't work as well as just her being her own kind of eccentric disaster of a character, and him being his own version of that, and them being more friends. And they had a nice back and forth still, but it wasn't really a sexual thing. He had his stuff going on, she had her stuff going on, and it was great,
I felt they mishandled it. This is an aside, but I felt they mishandled it because she was a smart businesswoman, and that was her thing. She was running the thing, and so they had that power conflict because Sam wants to be the boss because it's his own bar, and suddenly it's being managed by someone else, and she's this smart, powerful businesswoman. And then she turns.
That was good. I liked it. Yep.
She turns into a moron. She turns into this idiot waitress, dumbass, ditz. I thought, what the fuck? Oh, sorry. What
yeah, I'm not going to argue because that was a fair. That's very fair.
Yeah, why did they? How? Why? I still don't understand it to this day. It was so disappointing that they turned her from this, shoulder padded, big head boss lady into this moron. I mean, Sam was always a bit of a moron, but she was worse. She's dumber than Woody. God. Oh, who was that guy's name? Was not Woody. He was Woody Harrelson was I can't remember his character.
Might have been too long ago for me to judge. Really, you might be totally right. If I watched it again, I might be like, "Oh my god, they totally like." It makes no sense, that reversal of character. But
I didn't mind them breaking up.
Yeah,
it's just
her change in
power
character
that way. But I mean, removing her power was okay. That was interesting. That was a fun reversal. But removing her like intelligence as well, it just seemed so weird to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, that is an aside. That's nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Well, I mean, if it was done in a way to kind of serve sexual tension, like to make them more compatible, then yeah, that would be really shitty too. I mean, it's shitty regardless, but like, but you did say that's what it was for, so I'm just kind of interjecting something, a what if, I guess. But yeah, that would be quite a loss though for that character to just kind of like, I think that happens too, like neuter characters so that they can have some kind of tension forced in there. I'm speaking about it all very negatively. I think it can be done very well, but I guess I've noticed it most when it's been negative. You know what I mean? That's when I kind of tend to remember sexual tension
Well,
when it's just not done very well.
They did it well in, say, Tenchi Mio, which is we talked about, I think, in the... Did we talk about that in the video? But we did talk about it anyway, but not in the QUACKCAST. So Tenchi Mio is like a harem anime, one of the, the originators of the form in a lot of ways, because it did, even if it wasn't the first, it did sort of crystallize a lot of the ideas behind harem animes, where you have usually a male protagonist, and he has several, women who are vying for his attention, and that's the form, but it could be a female protagonist, it could be lesbians, it could be gay people, it doesn't matter. But in this case, it's Tenchi is the reasonably characterless character, and he has all these females who want his attention, and particularly has this princess character, I can't remember her name, and this Ryoku, who's a space pirate, powerful space pirate, and she does lose that power a bit, that aggressive fury, in order to become a better match for Tenchi. But I think it's done a bit better in there because she becomes more lovable, and you as an audience you like her a lot more, and you root for her because she is more a sympathetic character and more human. So losing her aggressive power makes her into more of someone who is just likable, which worked better in that instance. So there's a positive.
Yeah, and the thing with Tenchi as well is it kind of went one way. Like, he didn't really reciprocate, at least not affection that they had for him. But I thought there was a movie at one point where he does fall in love with a classmate or something like that, right? And then they're all jealous. I can't totally remember it.
Yeah.
But and then then you had this kind of lovey side story and stuff, and I don't really remember it well, so I can't say whether it was done well or not. But the impression that I have from it was that it was done a little bit more sincerely, you know what I mean? It was done in a way that did make you kind of feel for those two characters and hope that they could get together and be happy. But then you also feel for the other characters who had a thing for them too. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
from what I remember.
Yeah, the nature of the sexual tension in a harem anime is you set up multiple instances, and generally there is what's called the main girl, main boy, main girl. So Tenchi, the person who they're vying for is the main boy, Tenchi in this case, and the main girl is the designated one who the character will fall for. It can be a will there, won't there, momentary, convincing the audience of maybe he could fall for this character or that character, but it really comes down to always the main girl. But in Tenchi Mayo, it wasn't really that, because he didn't really love either one of the main girls, which there were two really, which is Ryuko and the princess Haiku or something, I can't remember.
I always want to say Nina, and that's not right remotely.
I want to say Hakusho. Yu Hakusho. Oh, but that's a different anime. Yeah, so there was those two, but he didn't really have that ultimate affection for them. He had a weird affection, almost a brotherly affection for them. which it's not like,
Yeah.
oh, what are you doing, stepbrother? It's like, really, he just like cares for them like a brother.
Yeah, he was just like completely stoic. At least I haven't seen all of them, but I think Ryo-Oki is the series I watched, and maybe saw one of the movies. But yeah, from what I saw, he was just like completely stoic.
Yeah.
And noble.
Yeah, which isn't
and,
in so
yeah,
many.
It was weird. It was entertaining, but weird. Yeah, it's like, how's this?
In so many harem animes, that stoicism comes down to this painful shyness. It's really horrible to watch. But in Tenchi, it's like almost genuine. It's like almost, yeah, he really is noble. He doesn't feel that like Frisian. He doesn't feel like he really wants to just have sex with them no matter what. He just wants to be free to do it. He's more like, no, I don't know. It feels more genuine in that anime.
It feels like he is he knows this gaggle of weird space women are kind of out of their element, so he kind of, I want to say, like takes care of them. But in that regard, he just kind of is just keeps the peace in a sense, but he never really is attracted to them. But he loses his temper sometimes, and I think that makes the difference too. Is like he gets angry about it sometimes, and he has reactions that you think somebody might have. But yeah, so this is the harem anime section of our discussion.
But yeah,
I'm interested to hear more because you guys know a lot more about anime. I will just say that I've watched a little bit of a long-running one, the one with Lum, the alien.
Oh, yeah. That was done by the same lady who did I'm thinking of every other anime name. The wolf demon boy. Inuyasha. That was the same person, I think, right?
Oh, she's the same creator who, yeah, she did a few. I know some big ones. Yeah, I think you're right from what I've read. Yeah, very cool.
Base Princess Loom or something like that. I can't remember now. Had like shampoo in it. I'm probably mixing all of those series together.
I think it's Yurusei or Yasure Yatsura. Or
yes, yeah. Something yeah.
It's with Lum, the green-haired or blue-haired space.
She was so fucking cute. I love it.
So adorable. She's so funny. And I guess the idea, from what I've read originally, was that the boy, Ataru, was in love with this Earth girl. And they had this thing, and she liked him too, and it was just sort of unsaid for some reason, but they wanted to be together. And then Lum came in, and he accidentally got engaged to her. And Lum was this, like, very fiery, very feisty, and she's got these powers, and she's, she decides that, yeah, we're getting married. So she decides when he accidentally proposes, which that always happens.
Yeah.
You don't relate to that.
Oh, God.
She's taken with him, and she's not going to let go. And then I guess originally you were supposed to root for the two Earth people to get together, and Lum was like the antagonist. But the majority of the audience liked the tension more. They liked Lum. Maybe they just liked Lum more. She was more fun. And they like that tension, the sort of the feistiness and the bickering with her and the guy. And so the creator ended up changing it. That's what I read anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah. And you know what? That creator, if I am thinking of the right one, unless I'm just mushing all these different ones together, I think it's the same one that's done like that in Inuyasha and Ranma and like Mermaid Saga and stuff like that. And I do have it wrong, don't I? Anyway, I'm going to pretend it's all the same person. And they all do revolve around that kind of tension of two main cast members, and they have some problem of some kind. Like in Ranma, it's more comedic, and then like in Inuyasha, it's more of an adventure thing. There's a little comedy in there. And then Mermaid Saga, it's more of a horror thing, but they're all kind of different flavors of that two main leads who they like each other. Will they get together? Will they not? But it's done. She does it. I think I'm pretty sure the author is a woman.
Yeah.
Rumiko something, right?
I don't know the name, but yeah, she is a woman, and I know she's done multiple other huge manga series. Yeah.
Yeah, but she does that kind of thing so well too that's why she is so very popular with that kind of niche.
Right.
It's kind of almost expected.
Yeah.
But yeah, she does it very well.
I gotta watch some of those. I mean, I've heard of Inuyasha and Ranma.
Any of them myself.
Oh no.
No, I've heard about them, but they never came to Australia for some, like maybe it's licensing. They never got licensed over here, so they never came, and I never saw versions of them, unfortunately. So yeah, Ranma was and Lum and Yunash, whatever the name is. Yeah, they never came here, unfortunately, that I know of. So I've never seen them. I missed out a whole lot of pop culture there.
I do want to keep watching eventually, just to watch the Lum one. I want that little fire-breathing baby to get a beating, but I don't know if he will. The bastard.
See, the reverse side of sexual tension. Sometimes we also just want to watch things because we want to see characters get their comeuppance too and get the shit kicked out of them. I have watched
I don't think he ever will.
Out of annoyance before. Like, I hate this fucking character. Hate watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to see that baby Yoda Georgiou or something finally get.
I wouldn't hold my breath on that one.
Oh no, the stormtroopers kicked him around pretty good. So
I was gonna say you didn't get that one part. That one, yeah.
That is true.
He got a little taste of it, and now he wants some more. He wants a whole 10-part series of just kicking the little Yoda around.
Exactly. So much you could do. Throw him up. He's in target practice. I mean, come on, guys. You're wasting valuable Yoda torturing time here. But that's not really sexual. There was no sexual tension in that film, which is quite interesting. I mean, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Say you've got the Mando, whatever it is. I don't know if he did have a name, but I don't care what it is. So Mando.
It's Mando. Mando. Oh yeah, but yeah, I always forget. I'm gonna stop deciding. That's not his actual name. I'm just gonna say that it took me until like the last part of season 1 to figure out Mando's just short for Mandalorian.
I know it's Mandarin. I don't know, but yeah. So Mando, and there was the female drop commando, whatever she was, and normally, like traditionally in an action series or whatever, like automatically when you have a female character, sexual tension, that's what you're going to have. But they didn't have any even inkling of that. There was no sexual tension between these characters at all. I mean, people would say, oh, no chemistry. But, there absolutely wasn't meant to be. And I felt that was such a cool thing. Like, that wasn't what their relationship between each other was about. It was strictly a business kind of thing. They were thrown together in the moment, just out of convenience, and they worked together, but they didn't ever turn it into that. And so absence of sexual tension can be a good thing.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that worked well for them. They did have that one episode where he liked that one lady, which that was kind of sweet, but I thought it was a little ham-fisted as well.
Yeah,
I liked the premise of the episode itself, but like, I don't know, they make her like this ace marksman and stuff out of nowhere, and she's just kind of the best out of all of her village just to make her compatible with it. And that just was worse to me. And then when she tried to take off his helmet, I was like, nah, bitch, get back in line. But That's just me.
I think all of us, everybody in the world, reacted the same way, because I felt like that, and I think anybody you ask would feel that she had no business in the show. They could just get rid of that fucking character, and the episode would be so much better.
I don't know, but I mean, yeah. I mean,
well,
it's weird that it
just
was
ways to go about it too. Like, I don't really mind that. Like it's kind of sweet that he was a little bit attracted, you know, and I thought that was kind of sweet because he's not just a emotionless robot. Like, there's a difference, and he was kind of tempted. Like, should I just settle down with my little adopted alien son here, where he's happy with his kids? But like, even the kids, like, it was kind of played up, like, oh no, like that kind of bad child acting. But it was just too forced. But then again, you can only do so much in a 30-minute episode, you know, or 45 or whatever it was. So I guess they were just trying to like build something as fast as they could. Yeah, it was just a little ham-fisted.
Yeah,
it was. I mean,
yeah, not my.
I mean, when we say that element was ham-fisted, the episode itself was great. It's just that particular part of it. Yeah, but there was no sexual tension between him and her. It was like straight out, caring, and he was considering, like you say, settling down, removing the helmet, whatever. But it wasn't because of a sexual tension. It was more like, maybe I could settle down and into this forgotten little area of space, and it would be okay for me. So yeah, it was. She's
like, come and stay here with me and stuff like that. And part of me was thinking, or I'm thinking now, like, what if she was like all like interested and like wanting him to stay, and then she takes off his helmet and she's like, yeah, like, I think we could be really good friends.
Yeah.
After she sees his face, that would have, maybe that's why he was like, no, I don't want that.
Oh jeez. Oh god, when he removes his helmet and he's got that cool sexy voice for the whole bloody thing, and then when he removes the helmet he looks like fucking Corey Haim or Corey Feldman.
Yeah, he's got
Corey Feldman, and you think, oh geez, the voice doesn't fit, man, come on.
Well, I didn't really mind it, but maybe that's because I saw pictures of the actor beforehand, so I kind of knew what to expect. Like, all through that, I was kind of imagining that actor in there, and so I just kind of resigned him to being just like a dude with like, he's just a dude with a face, and he's just trying to get by in space desert, trying to do his thing. So I acclimated it. I kind of like it now, actually. Like, that he's not just some like reject Aryan poster boy or something,
Yeah. You expect to take his helmet off and he's got these hard chiseled features, and but no, he's a soft.
I like
face.
his mustache. You don't see a lot of guys with mustaches that aren't bad guys. I like this mustache.
It's a weak mustache.
Sure, you don't see that a whole lot.
The only mustache I will accept on an actor is a Tom Selleck mustache, and there are no others. Has to be a full Selleck.
I think you have the sexual tension with mustaches that needs to be realized. You're just like, see, there you go. What does this do for you?
It's time you admit it. It's right in the tip of your tongue.
We're full on 70s now. We're like the cast of Beastie Boys. Well, we're like Beastie Boys in the Sabotage film clip. If anyone remembers that, where they have all the fake mustaches.
I don't remember. No, but I thought you were going to say bestiality, and I would have gotten that too.
Yeah. Watch Sabotage. You'll love it, and you'll totally get that about the mustaches. No sexual tension there, none. I'm trying to think of other things. Like, have you used? Pitt, you're going to be using some sexual tension in Inhabitants. I think Typical Strange is full of sexual tension. I think that is a fuel. Yeah. That is a nuclear energy resource that's just keeping everything powered.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Maybe that's why I was so adamant to Tans earlier that, oh no, you can keep that going forever, man. It doesn't, you don't never have to do anything with it. It can just always be the same.
That's true. You should have brought up Typical Strange because you do it well, because I think it works so well for you because the characters are always engaged in so many things and so many different like little plot points and stuff going on that it's not the main focus. It's just like life is carrying on, you know? But it's just like a little extra flavoring in there.
I hope so.
Bad girl? What about the girl with the big girl with the big heart? Well, you know, what about I don't
the glasses girl,
Abby?
librarian, sexy librarian.
No, I couldn't remember her name. I'm sorry, Vince.
It's okay, no worries. I didn't tell you there was going to be a test today.
Penelope, Harley, Abby.
That's right.
There are people who say sometimes, and I know they're just saying it, and I love it. I love what commenters say. But like, get together! Like, what are you doing? Like, she's amazing! Like, get together with her. And I know where that's coming from, and I love it. But it's like, I think they probably know, and I feel too that like, well, when I do that, you got moonlighting. It's gonna be terrible.
I don't want to see them get together. I find
Probably
like
not,
if
unless
you
the
did it,
series-
I'd be curious to see what happened. But like, I don't know. Like, yeah, this is an exception. Like, I don't. Maybe I just like the status quo too much, which kind of goes to what you were saying in the beginning, Oz, because you were, or maybe it was just before we started recording again, or in the video cast. I can't remember. Time is a blur and has no meaning. But But yeah, like, you know, sometimes it does work best when it becomes the status quo and you don't want to see it change because there's so many other things interesting that are going on.
Well, yeah,
yeah,
if you
you're
keep it along too long, that is the norm. And if you break that, then you remove one of the things that people expect and enjoy about the work.
People are enjoying that tension. Like, that's the thing about tension. It kind of grabs you, and like you, in the right context anyway. And you're like, you want to see those tension-filled escapades.
Well, one of the ways they use it, I find, is you have rather than both characters feeling the tension at the same time, you can have one of the characters feel it when the other character doesn't, and that way, and they take turns. So there's like, oh, I'm really strongly feeling it, but oh, you're not, so we can't get together. Oh, you're strongly feeling it, I'm not, so we can't get together. So you have that. Yeah, Pitt, you're right there. Pitt sort of bring up some notes. Ace and Pinky sort of have an implied past history. In, you know, it's like one of those things where like, did they get together once in the past? So there's sort of a bit of a acrimonious relationship between the two of them, but yeah, there's definitely sexual tension between Pinky and Cece that I play on in instances when they show up. You know, just having when they look at each other and stuff like that, it's not really purely hostility. There's like something more.
Yeah. I think of that picture, that poster, that big poster that you made of the two of them fighting, and that was one of the first things that came to my mind when I was thinking of Pinky in this regard. And it's the way that she and Cece are kind of looking into each other's eyes in that poster. They're fighting, but it almost looks like they're dancing in a sense, you know, like they're very entangled in that way, very intimate.
Yeah, I like that about, and that would be one of those unrealized things that would always just be a tension between the two, and that would make it work. Because I like that idea of like enemies having that that frisson between them, so they're not just people who hate each other because they have different philosophies, but they're also an unspoken attraction between them, you know, an attraction of like, you know, are we equals in some way? You know, are we we're on two sides of the same issue, but we're also sort of the same sort of person as well. You know, there is some equality between us, which I like that aspect. You don't see. I mean, I think when you do see, you know, that in fiction where the enemy and the hero do have an unspoken relationship or do have like sexual tension, I think that really works. Doesn't work.
Oh, that always gets me. See, I act like I'm so fucking above it, but I'm really not because that's my jam.
It's not so good when you resolve it and you get them together. It's good when you have that between them and you don't resolve it, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, well, one of the prime examples I think of that is Venture Brothers, and you had Brock, and you had
Yes.
Mazel Tov. Cocktease. I can't remember her first name.
I think it's Molotov.
Molotov. Mazel Tov. Molotov Cocktease, and they're enemies, but they also have this history. Very much like what you were saying with Pinky and Cece, of this close, like, sexual tension. And when they fight, you know, they're beating the shit out of each other, but they're also almost kind of fucking each other too, you know, and they're both like kind of aware of it, you know, and they're playing into it. And oh, it's beautiful. I love it. And then as the series goes on, you do really care about them, you know, because they react to each other in very caring ways, you know, like although they have opposing interests, they do really care about each other, and like your heart kind of goes out to them.
For sure.
Actually, speaking of that,
it's like, I mean, I know him better than her because he's a regular character, but it's like she's the one that he's in love with, you know, like that's what it seems like for all his girlfriends and everything. Like she's the one he wants to be with. That's my interpretation.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, so it definitely gives you that like juice. So to speak.
Speaking of that, there was a music video by I cannot remember who the frick it was, but beautiful music video. It's designed around, you know, the story of it is like there's a James Bond kind of figure, and he's fighting against you know, some enemy supervillain with a bald head and, you know, like a golden hand or something like that, or a golden nose, I can't remember. And like so they're continually battling each other, but they have that sexual tension between each other, and as the film clip goes on, as the video goes on, that's sort of like growing, and it's beautiful to see. And eventually they're in a relationship together. It's so cool. and the James Bond character leaves his wife and he gets together with this supervillain. And then, as a little twist in the end, his wife becomes the new supervillain, and she wants to get him back. Which, yeah, that's a really good one. Unfortunately, I can't remember what it was called, but it's a beautiful. The song itself is like boring as batshit, but the music video is just beautiful. So, yeah, you can really play a lot with that. But I love that aspect. You know, if we had James Bond, you know, falling in love with his enemy. Well, I mean, we have it like, you know, James Bond falling in love with his like Octopussy or whatever, you know, those kind of things, which is, you know, pretty standard. That's more about him seducing the bad guy or the bad girl rather than like a real sexual tension, a real frisson.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's not as dangerous for the guy or the James Bond guy involved. It's like there's danger maybe for mortality, but like when there's actual hearts on the line, and the danger is intensified because it's
exactly.
I was going to say it's
attraction. It's just laying. It's a conquest.
Yeah.
So yes.
Another thought I had is that you don't have to do much to have sexual tension felt by your readers. You actually probably don't even really have to do anything in a way.
Yeah, that's a good
Because
point.
humans, we're just ready to see that and to feel that, like to sort of project that or.
Absolutely.
I found the video. It's Genghis Khan by Mike Snow. So there you go. Genghis Khan by Mike Snow.
I can't watch it yet, or else you guys are gonna hear it over the cast. But
Well, I will just add a link to it in the QUACKCAST notes, and I'll link to it later for you. But yeah, it's really, really, really freaking cool.
Nice.
Oh, I think we've talked about every aspect of this, so we could wrap this up now.
yeah.
Can you talk about Pitt's comics at all, or do you want to talk about it yet? Or?
I was trying to decide if I wanted to. I don't know what I can say. Because I'm sure, like, if I talked about it a little bit, it's not like big spoilers. But I don't know. I'll wait and I'll just sit on it and scream in a pillow for now until I can talk about it.
Sit on it like an egg, wait for it to hatch.
That's right. That's right.
And blossom into this proud cock.
Big ol' stinking cock. Just dicking ourselves in the butt. That's what it comes down to. If we could just dick ourselves in the butt, we wouldn't be as frustrated with the world as we are.
Cut. Okay. We're getting into dangerous territory here.
Did you dissipate the tension? Yes. What did it cost?
Oh, God, yes.
Everything.
All right, this has been QUACKCAST number 525. And yeah, I've been Ozone Ocean. We've had Tance, she's gone. And now it's just Baines and Pip. So, goodbye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.